Welcome to our mid-year update on the progress we've made on our creek. We were looking for a way to increase the capacity of the material we were running through our hose. We decided to try our version of the bucket dredge. We grabbed one of our extra buckets, and since our nozzle was 2.5 inches, we drilled a 2.5 inch hole on the side right near the bottom to collect the material as it passes through the bucket. Then we drilled some smaller holes around the outside of the bucket halfway up so that the bucket could stay filled with water. We could now insert the nozzle into the bucket and put a clamp on it from the other side to keep it from sliding out, and we were ready to test it out.
Just like that.
So now we're running it for the first time, shoveling the dirt into the 1/2 inch classifier, which screeds off all the bigger rocks and only allows the finer materials to fall down into the bottom of the bucket to be sucked up by our hose. This clearly is a two-man operation, one guy on the bucket and one guy on the shovel, so that the guy shoveling never has to stop to shake and throw the rocks away. We were able to quickly get rid of all the overburden and take us down to the next level of cemented rocks, boulders, cobbles, and stones. We spent 2 days working on this area here and actually got down 3-4 feet, but with all the bigger rocks and boulders that were around us, we started to feel that it was getting a little dangerous, so we moved on to a different area. Hey, did we get any gold? We found some chunkier pieces in that hole, and one really nice specimen of a quartz with gold around it. Nicest piece we found all day, probably all year. Now we've set our sights on that area right below that little boulder, right in the center of the stream there. As we get deeper, we are no longer able to use the bucket and have to resort to dredging in the old-fashioned way. After we remove the overburden, we find the ground is more tightly packed together and becomes a process of hand removing stones and rocks and sucking up the sands and gravels that cement it all together. The more sand and gravel that you can remove, you find that some of the bigger rocks just all of a sudden become loose, and we're able to pull them out of the hole. It's amazing the amount of suction we can get from this 2.5 inch hose. We're not even running it to the full 100 feet, probably only about 60 feet, and it sucks up big rocks and clogs at the tip of the nozzle very easily. And if you were to stick the nozzle into an area of tiny small rocks and sand, you could suck up a good 10 feet of material and clog your hose. That's how great the suction is.
Nice. Yeah, nice and quiet water.
By the end of the day, we had cleared enough of the gravels around this big boulder to actually start moving it around. And we uncovered what looked like a piece of gold embedded in the crack way down deep in the hole. We were unable to get it this time, but we know right where it is, and we'll be bringing back resources to move that big boulder out of the way. Since our sluice box has high dredging riffles, we're able to run a large quantity of water through there. This way, when you're dredging, if you take gulps of material with little breaks in between, you don't have to tend the box as the material all flushes through. So, after a little cleanup at home, here's the take from our second hole. Every time we go out, it gets a little bit better. I think we can almost call ourselves gold miners now. 'Cause we really got the fever. Thanks for watching.